Hey folks, the topic for this video is groupthink. And when a lot of folks think about getting into this class, one of the topics they want to learn about is groupthink. It's like a classic sort of element of this particular class. And, there's groupthink is basically, when you look at the topic of groupthink, it's when a group wants to avoid conflict so badly that vigilant decision making doesn't take place. They basically want to avoid conflict so badly that they compromise their high quality decision making, and they value like everybody getting along more than anything else. And classic examples of it would be with Nixon and Watergate. There was a situation there where basically, this is a picture from All the President's Men, which is the movie version of it. That's Robert Redford. Great film if you ever get a chance to see it. But basically what happened in that situation is they were avoiding conflict. And the conflict in this case was that the president was trying to decide, it was President Nixon, he was trying to decide if he should tell the truth about the fact that the robbers that were basically trying to or did break into the Watergate Hotel and steal information about the Democratic Party in the 1970s actually indirectly worked for him. And they didn't work for him directly. They worked indirectly. So he could have just admitted and said, yeah, they worked for people that worked for me. I fired them. Now, and I definitely wouldn't have approved of that robbery, but instead he tried to cover it up. So he didn't actually get in trouble for the robbery. He got in trouble for the cover up. And the part that's groupthink is the decision to try to cover it up, even though that clearly wasn't a good decision. Sooner or later, people were going to find out. But they covered it up because no one wanted to, upset anybody, and they were trying to avoid conflict. And so they tried to cover it up, and then it ended up that he had to give up the presidency as a result. He actually resigned before he got impeached. But so that's a kind of a classic example of that with the Watergate example. And then another example is this is a photo of the astronauts in the Challenger, and the Challenger shuttle actually crashed. And the thing about it is that many of the scientists that were working on the Challenger spacecraft knew that there were problems with the O-rings, and they went ahead and approved it going up into space anyway because they were afraid to have conflict within their group. They wanted to all get along, and so they actually suppressed their opinions, which were different. So that's another example of groupthink. Yeah. So let's look at it, because some of you are like, oh my gosh, I was already hesitant about groups anyway, and now you're telling me this could happen. What's going on here? Well, so let's take a look at, I think if you study groupthink, you can avoid having it happen. And one of them is to just know the symptoms of groupthink, know it's coming. So let's start off with the symptoms of groupthink. And the first thing is that conflict is avoided by avoiding critical thinking. Critical thinking is discouraged, and you have a lot of people that are just the natural enemy of critical thinking. And here we have a photo from 12 Angry Men, and in that film, which you're gonna actually take a look at that the script for that. I actually made the script available to you, so you're gonna take a look at the script for that, and you'll see that there is a lot of examples there where critical thinking is just not appreciated. And critical thinking is where we look at things from different perspectives. These guys definitely do not like looking at things from different perspectives. So that's a thing. And then also the group thinks they're special. Members think they can do no wrong is the idea there. They think they're special and they can do no wrong. They think they're sort of above the law. And we see that it's almost like this vigilante way of viewing the world, which works well in superhero movies. But would you really want somebody thinking that they can do no wrong and that the rules don't apply to them? So that's that idea that they think they can do no wrong. They think they're special and they're sort of above the law. Because and this is hard because there are no umpires of New York in in real life. In baseball we have the umpires of New York. We call them and they decide whether or not someone's safe or not. And I don't know if you've ever watched baseball and noticed they get that, I don't know what color the phone is, if it's red or black or whatever it is, like the bat phone, and they call these guys in New York that have been watching the game on video, and they decide, because they're maybe objective, but we don't always have people that are objective, so we don't always know what's the right thing. So that's why it's hard to take. You need an outside opinion a lot of times, and it's hard to take it. It's very dangerous to decide that what's right and what's wrong all by yourself without other people's input. Here's President Nixon, speaking of which. Members are too concerned with justifying their actions. And you saw this in Watergate. They were constantly justifying their actions. Hold on just a second.